I had this one pair of Bluetooth headphones that I had put through absolute hell. They weren't the latest model, and they certainly didn't look pretty. No matter how many times I dropped them, smashed them, or drowned them in the sink, they just kept on ticking. They had their quirks, though. The volume and power buttons were long dead. This meant the volume was permanently stuck on max, and if they had a charge, they were on. Their most defining feature was the strip of blue duct tape holding the right side together, the result of a nasty bike fall. These headphones were a gift from my father a few months before he passed away. They weren't just a gadget to me. They were one of the few tangible things I had left of him. About 6 months ago, they vanished from my desk at work. I tore the place apart, checked every drawer, but they were gone. I eventually chalked it up to a freak accident. Maybe the cleaning crew accidentally swept them into the trash. It stung, but I let it go. In my department, there's a coworker named Elena. She's that one type, all smiles to your face, but behind your back, she's taking credit for your ideas. A classic office sycophant who gets by on the work of others. When I was lamenting the loss of my headphones, she walked over, gave my shoulder a sympathetic pat, and said, "Don't worry, it's just stuff." I didn't think much of it at the time. That all changed this past Saturday. I was sitting in a coffee shop, and in walked Elena. And there, on her head, were my headphones. I knew them instantly. The blue duct tape on the right side was like a beacon. A hot rage washed over me. So, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't the cleaning crew. It was a cold, calculated theft. I spent the rest of the weekend fuming, trying to figure out what to do. My friend and colleague, Alex, advised me to play it cool and wait for the right opportunity. That opportunity arrived this morning. Our entire department was called into a meeting. The occasion was serious. We were being introduced to our new director, a Mr. Sterling, a man with a reputation for being sharp and no nonsense. The air in the conference room was thick with tension. Everyone sat straight-backed like students on exam day. Elena sat a few chairs down from me, her handbag resting on the floor beside her. And then a miracle. My phone, resting in my pocket, gave a soft buzz. I pulled it out and saw the notification on the screen. Connected to Post Quiet Comfort. My heart started pounding. My phone still had them on its Bluetooth list. Elena must have moved just far enough from her bag that the perpetually on headphones had latched onto the only paired device in range, mine. My first instinct was to let it go. But then I pictured my dad's face when he gave them to me. I remembered Elena's fake sympathy, her constant, smirking appropriation of other people's work. No, this was a bridge too far. I could have just ignored it. But if I did, I wouldn't be typing this now, would I? At the precise moment Mr. Sterling began his welcome speech, I opened the most bizarre audio file I could find on my phone. Suddenly, from inside Elena's bag, a sound began to blast through the silent conference room. It was a weird, pornographic mix of high-pitched screaming, slapping sounds, and a very vulgar-mouthed female instructing her partner on how much harder she wanted her hoo-ha busted. The slapping was especially loud. It must have been a mean game of patty cake, but it had a wet, plopping sound like their hands were covered in Vaseline. The room went dead silent. Mr. Sterling's speech cut off mid-sentence. Every single head slowly turned towards the source of the sound, Elena's handbag. At first she looked confused, but then her face went bone white as she realized what was happening. She started fumbling frantically in her bag, trying to turn the headphones off. But the buttons didn't work, and the volume couldn't be lowered. The woman in the audio was now trying to get her partner to look in her mouth, or something. He must not have been paying attention, because she just kept yelling, "Come look in my mouth. Look in my mouth." Elena's face went from white to a deep, burning crimson. Mr. Sterling was staring at her with a look of pure, icy contempt. With the whole department watching in stunned silence and the obscene audio still blaring, Elena shot up from her chair, grabbed her bag, and fled the room, nearly knocking over an intern on her way out. I watched her go, waited until she was far enough away, and then discreetly turned the volume down on my phone. Wouldn't want something like that to be mistakenly blasted from my own pocket. Then, for good measure, I went into my Bluetooth settings and made sure to forget this device. For good. We've been back at our desks since 1 p.m. Elena's chair is still empty. Plop, plop, plop. Update. We had another department meeting today from 9 to 10 a.m. HR, the new director, and all supervisors were required to be there. They reviewed the administrative regulation for personal electronic devices and made it crystal clear that pornographic material of any kind is not allowed on company time or property. Elena mysteriously called in sick. The office consensus is that she'll be sick for the rest of the week. She's most likely facing a 5-day suspension or worse. I'm waiting to see if she makes eye contact with me and when she comes back. It's unfortunate to say that Elena is that one coworker that everyone else has to pull extra weight for. So even with the suspension pending, it just means we have to do her work until she gets back. But somehow, that thought doesn't bother me nearly as much as it used to.